Okay, in a previous clip we did a little bit of sanding just to show you how to sand cleanly with sharp sandpaper. And then the next step that I do is I'm going to wipe on some wiping varnish to protect the wood underneath, and then I'm going to buff it with a buffing system. And many people use a buffing system, so I want to take a quick sequence of how I do it. I have the buffs in plastic bags, and they're separated from one another because I don't want the coarse grit rouge buff to contaminate the wax one, so I keep them separate. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of wax on it. I've cantilevered it off here so that I have room. If I've got a big bowl, I can get underneath here and get inside the bowl. The buffs that are stacked next to each other get in each other's own way, so I like to have it separated, each buff independently. And it's got a mandrel sticking out. There's even a longer mandrel that you could use to even give you more room, but I found this pretty versatile, hanging off so that the table doesn't get in my way, and I can buff inside and outside. I'm going to charge the wheel, just put a little bit of the red. This is the coarser grit buffing. And I'm always going to go away from the edge. Right? I'm going to buff this. You see how polished that looks already? See the difference? Now I'm going away from the edge. What if I would turn around and go down on the edge and go this way? The buff would catch that corner. It's going to flip it out of my hand, and it gets nasty. You can go get a catch with buffing pretty easily. So you always want to go off the edge. So I'm going to go all the way around that sanded area. That I only sanded about the top inch of this, but I want to show you even where it isn't sanded. I'm going to come down a ways into it and show you even with it not sanded, just on my tool control, it helps clean up. Okay, so now can we see how buff that is? Nice and polished. If I wanted to, I could just leave it like that. It's kind of a satin glow, but I want to go a little bit shinier. We'll take the rouge buff off. And there's different size buffing wheels. We have a smaller buffing wheel to get inside of a bowl. We've got even a powder puff shape or rounded buffing wheel to get inside of bowls too, so you can find a way to buff almost anything. Okay, the second one is a white diamond. Okay, and the white diamond is a real fine abrasive. It's white, and it's more for metal work really, but this takes all of the little tiny scratches that came from the other buff. Okay. So we're going to charge a little bit on there. And we'll go back and rebuff what we did. It's really all there is to it. It's not rocket science. Let me go in here where this hasn't been sanded. Okay, as you can see, a little bit of tool marks in there, but it's still buffing it out nicely. I could leave it like that if I'm happy with that, but I want it a little bit shinier. So we'll go to the third buff, which is a very hard Canuba wax. And this wax is going to give a very long-lasting shine. The wax is very hard. You can see it's very hard, very brittle. Now we're not going to put a whole lot on here. I don't want the wax to be melted on here and leave glops on my wood. So again, we're going to be very sparingly with this. We're just going to charge the wheel just quickly and wax the surface. All right, that's all it is. If we can look at it with the light behind, see the reflection of the lights on the ceiling. You can see the tool marks here where I didn't sand, and the clean line around here that I did sand. How polished that is, it really comes out nice. And that hard carnauba wax is going to take a lot of handling. I've got pieces in my house that I've done way back in the mid-90s that I've never buffed twice, and people have handled them over and over again and they still look good.